Hello everyone, my name is Holly and we will be doing a class discussion today on adoption. So we will go over some vocabulary words and do a quick reading and discuss adoption and the attitude towards adoption in different countries. Hello Jonathan, how are you?
Hello, fine, and you?
Really good. So Jonathan, where are you from?
I am from Colombia. And where are you from?
Colombia. I'm from Idaho in the United
Oh,
States. Yeah, so I'm up in the Pacific Northwest of the
yes,
U.S. Awesome. And so it's 4 o'clock in Colombia right now, right?
yes.
Yeah, okay. And it's 2 p.m. where I'm at. So, and hello, Adela. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Good. So your weekend is almost up. So how was your weekend so far?
Today I went go hiking with my friends. I'm a little tired, but
Ah, uh-huh. Yeah, so you're a little tired. Tired.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like you had a good weekend though. So good. All right. And hello, is it Johnny? And hello, Yosef? Yosef? Hello,
Hello,
Yosef. Hello. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. So where are you from, Yusuf?
I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Awesome. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And my name is Holly, and I'm from the U.S. I'm from Idaho specifically. So, all right. And
Uh, Great to have you. Actually, this is the second class for me.
um, is it okay? Well, welcome to Verbling. And so, welcome. And Johnny, are you there?
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. And you?
Very good, very good. So where are you from, Johnny?
I'm from Venezuela.
Venezuela. Awesome. All right. Okay. So, um, all right. Yeah, just for those because most of you are new to me and I'm new to you. Just to quickly introduce myself. My name is Holly, and I'll show you the person behind the picture. Bear with me. And I am originally from Idaho, where I'm currently living. And I've been teaching English since 1994, and I started teaching in South Korea and have taught in Finland, taught there for 11 years, and now I came back to the States about 5 or 6 years ago and have been teaching online since 2006, so a long time. So, all right. Hello, Alexander. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. Very good, thank you. Very good. So, all right. So let's go ahead and start the topic. The topic today is on adoption, and okay. And let's go ahead and start. Okay, so the agenda today, we will start out with a warm-up discussion, then we will have a vocabulary activity, then we will do a reading, we will do another vocabulary activity, and then at the end we will discuss adoption. And there's all kinds of different questions that we will go through. So that is the plan for today. First question, our warm-up discussion. What is adoption? Hello, Ismail. How are you?
Hi, Oli. I am doing well, thank you.
Excellent. Good. So how was your weekend?
Uh, it was
Almost
not
over.
so interesting. I
Ah,
stayed usually at home and I went for a walk with my neighbor on
uh-huh.
Saturday.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Um, all right. So, let's go ahead and start this discussion. So, Adela, first question: what is adoption?
Is to take more or less. I don't the verb. A child in a family, maybe a couple or a single person, but to go normally is adoption. International adoption is for another country different. You live and you can to have the same country you live, but it's more difficult in Spain. Unless it's more difficult. Normally are international adoptions.
Okay, in Spain, it's international adoption is more common. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so adoption is taking a child into your home and raising them as they are your own, even though they were not born into your family. Yes. And so in Spain, international adoptions are more common. How about in Russia? Are international adoptions more common, or is adoption common in Russia? Alexander?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, actually, I would say that not. It's not so popular in Russia, and maybe it's just because I didn't, think about it, and I just, yes, and but I can tell you about my city. In my city, it's not popular, and I don't think that we have any of company that does this. But in the bigger cities such Moscow, St. Petersburg, yes, maybe there are some companies, and so the bottom line is it's not popular in Russia.
Okay, all right. And Ismail, number 2, do you know anyone who was adopted as a child?
Yes, I know someone who is adopted a child from my relatives, Holly.
Okay, and that is called. You can call that, for example, a kinship adoption.
I don't know what does kinship adoption mean.
That means so like an aunt adopted a niece or a nephew. Is that what you mean? Or
no, there is no any relative relationship.
Oh, they're not related. Okay, yeah. So that would be just a regular adoption. Okay.
Yes, it's a regular and according to law.
Okay, so one of your relatives adopted a child then. Okay.
Yes, we have same system too, Holly. For example, some families which are living in poverty, they give their child to your relatives who don't have any child or who have child, but he earn a good money, and they can raise more children. We have also same system. For example, some people give their children to their relatives.
Yes, and that is considered a kinship situation or a kinship adoption.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that's common as well. Like, for example, if a brother or sister passes away, and the siblings might take the children, and so that would be that type of adoption. Otherwise, then of course there's the straightforward adoptions. So, yeah, and Johnny. Do you know anyone who has adopted a child?
Yes, I do.
In
fact, I know two children that were adopted as a child.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's not so common, but at least everyone knows an adopted child here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So it's not that common, but most people know at least one person that's adopted. Okay. All right. And Jonathan, do you know anyone who has adopted or was adopted?
No, I do not. But for example, I am thinking to adopt a child when I grow up.
Uh-huh. Okay. So instead of thinking to, you would be thinking about. I am thinking about adopting a child when I grow up, or when
Yes.
when I'm older. Okay. Would you do a domestic adoption or an international adoption?
I think I would do a domestic adoption because it would be easier than an international one.
It is cheaper, that's for sure.
Yeah,
For some people, international is easier, but most people, I think, domestic is much cheaper. So, all right, Sam, welcome. Sam, can you speak? Oh, it looks like there's a problem. It sounds like we can't hear you. Okay, so maybe you need to set the microphones, change the microphone settings or something. So, Yosef, what are the views of adoption in your country, Yosef?
Okay, well, what are the views of? You mean views? يعني what's
Like attitude towards adoption.
Yes, actually, adoption here in our country in Saudi Arabia, it's just like volunteer work. It's our religion is encourage us to activate this situation and encourage us to adopt a child or any person who need to take care of them. Because the people in a city or in the country, they should be as a one person. When anyone bleed, they should bleed. When anyone cry, they should cry.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So people have a very good view, a good attitude towards adoption. That's great. That's great. And Adela, how about Spain? What is the attitude or the view of adoption in Spain?
Normally, the international adoption, they are 3 countries. People go to they are normally they are groups organized for adoption.
Okay.
You can contact with groups. They are lawyers, etc. To have to fill the forms, etc. And the countries are Russia, Ukraine, and China is the most.
The 3 main ones.
I know.
I know that in Finland, when I was there, they had an age limit. You could not adopt a child over the age of 40. Is there any type of age limit like that in Spain?
They are normally yes, but 10 years ago you could adopt 40 years and no problem. Overall in China, because there are a lot of girls, China girls, and don't have any problem. But I think in this moment the adoption is regulated and not for older people. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And Alexander, do you know the views or the attitudes towards adoption in Russia? Because Russia is
Sure.
a popular place for international adoptions. Do the Russian people adopt children? Do you know?
Actually, no, no, I don't know. And I always thought that it's not so popular, but
Mm.
it turns out that it's popular, and I'm kind of confused.
Yeah. Well, it might just not be popular
And
because there are.
why I was thinking like that. It's because uh, I don't have any friends or
Mhm.
acquaintance who have done that. And I've
Mhm.
never heard from someone, from my surrounding.
Mhm.
Is it
Who have
right?
adopted? Yeah.
Or yeah.
So, yeah. So you just don't. It's not in your circle. You don't know anything really about it. So that's good. It's good that you're in this class to learn a little bit more. Yeah. I first heard about adoption in Russia back in 90, it would have been 93 or 94. There was a lady at my work who was going to adopt two Russian children who had, I think, who were deaf. And this lady knew sign language, and she wanted to adopt some deaf children. So she adopted some children from Russia. And then I also heard about some college friends who adopted 4 children from Russia. And so they're now all of them are living in the States. So,
Interesting.
yeah, but for me, as far as international adoptions, for the people that I know, most of the people that I've met have adopted from Africa, and that's the most. So, Ismail, what are the views of adoption in your country?
Could you repeat again, Holly?
Yeah, in Turkey, what are the views or the attitudes towards adoption in Turkey?
Actually, I couldn't understand. Holly, what do you
This
mean?
last question number 6. So, what are the
Views.
attitudes
Oh,
towards?
yes, views of adoption. Actually, some people adopt children, and there is I don't hear any negative things about adoption, Holly, and
Mm-hmm.
ethically, or how can I say, we feel a little a must for example, our relatives are going to be die
Mm-hmm.
to adopt their children or to interest with them to raise them ethically and traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
We feel a pressure, actually
Mm-hmm.
not a pressure, but it's we have to care for them, actually.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It is not good to, for example, if you lost their sister or their brother, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot say it is it doesn't interest me, and you
Mm-hmm.
cannot leave their children on the street, or you have to care them, actually.
Care for them. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so that is very important then for families to stick together. And in Korea, it is not very common for adoption. That's one of the reasons international adoption is very common. And they say that they have a saying called, in English, we say, blood is thicker than water. So it's better for family members to take care of the children, even if it's an aunt or an uncle, than it is to have non-family members. So, all right, Johnny, what is the added? What I can't remember what country you're from again. I'm sorry.
Venezuela.
Venezuela. Okay, I'm sorry. So, what is the attitude towards adoption in Venezuela?
Well, I mean, we do have one of the highest rates of teenage pregnancy, and that's one of the main factors that there are lots of children abandoned by their teenage mothers and teenage fathers. So it's quite normal that teenage abandon their children and are raised by other families. Even if there are no illegal actions for it.
Yeah. Do they have any safe haven drop boxes?
Excuse me?
Is there in Venezuela? Do they have any safe havens? It's a safe haven drop box. That's where if a parent, maybe a teenage mother, realizes that she cannot take care of the child, then she can drop the child into, like in the States, our safe havens are the fire stations. You can take any of your children to the fire stations and just say, I don't want these kids anymore.
No, I wish we have that. There is so much poverty in here that the least you can hear is that they abandon their children at the garbage. I don't know. Or
that happens here in the States too. So
okay.
Yeah. So they'll abandon the child and maybe the child doesn't make it and so forth. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Jonathan, how about in Colombia? What are the views of adoption in Colombia?
Here people think it's better to have a child of their own. Most of people don't think it's good to adopt a child because they are not from their own. I think that's not a good idea, but we have to respect them.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that is people's opinions. A lot of people. I have a good friend who she married later in life, and I asked her, well, if you and your husband are not able to conceive or to have children naturally, will you adopt? And she said, no, I do not want to adopt. So she said, and now they've been married about 3 years, and she has not gotten pregnant. So I guess they're not going to have kids. But that's just their decision. And my brother and her husband, my brother and his wife also have chosen not to have children. However, my twin sister, those of you who have been in my classes have heard me talk about my two twin nephews and my niece. They were all three adopted, and that's one of the reasons why adoption is so important to me and a fun class to teach, just because it's so close to my heart. And then also I've got an uncle who, my dad's younger brother. When I was about 11, he adopted a son from Korea, and this was, I think that this is in the newspaper, so I think it's okay to share. This is my cousin right here. And his older brother, when he was about 10, was adopted from Korea. And in the meantime, he met a lady, this lady, who was also adopted from Korea when she was a child. And they had 2 little girls of their own, and then they decided they wanted to do an international adoption, so they adopted him from Liberia. So they have this is a very international family.
Yes.
So she actually said something on Facebook. I just filled out the census form, and I had to fill out three different nationality, three different ethnic groups. There's black, Asian, and white. So this is just one example of what this is one typical. There's no typical American family, but this is just one typical American type of family. So she was adopted. So they wanted to try it, and they didn't want to have another child naturally. So, and I think he's probably about 10 years old now. So, this has been a while. I think they're both teenagers. I think so. He might be about 8, but it's been a while. So, all right, let's go on. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick reading about an international adoption. And so before that, I thought maybe we could look at some synonyms. So synonyms are words that mean the same. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see if we can match the synonyms of to care, to choose, to consider, to consult, to contact, to decide, to explain, to move, to research, to spend, to start, and to wait. Let's match these with to advise, to begin, to choose, to communicate with, to depart, to hold on, to illustrate, to investigate, to pay, to pick, to think about, and to want. And so let's see if we can do this as a group. And so Adela, can you choose one of these words and see if you can match this?
Yes, I try. To research, to investigate.
To research would be to investigate, yes. To research, to investigate. Okay, and Alexander.
All right. To choose and to choose.
To choose and to choose. Yeah, that kind of would work, but is there another one?
To pick.
To choose and to pick, yes. To choose and to pick. Okay, and Ismail.
Yes, Holly. To wait, to hold on.
Okay.
Last one.
To wait and to hold on, yes. Okay, and Johnny.
Okay, to contact, to communicate with.
Yes, to contact and to communicate with. Perfect. And Jonathan.
To spend and to pay.
To spend and to pay. Perfect. And I've lost my mouse. Bear with me. So it's okay. To spend and to pay.
I have a question. Are those all those synonyms used in the same context, or they change depending on the context?
Let's see. To spend and to pay would be using in almost the same context. Some of them would be different in different contexts. It's to contact, to communicate with. I think it depends on can you wait? Can you hold on? He's going to research the situation. He's going to investigate the situation. They can be used the same, but I'm sure there are different contexts as well where they wouldn't be used the same.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, remember it's never black and white. So, good question. So, Joseph.
Yes. Okay. To care, we can say to think about.
To care.
So we'll come with to think about.
Yeah. To care and to think about is a different one.
Really?
Yeah.
To care, we can say. To care.
In this respect, care has a different meaning. Like like I don't care to. I don't care to watch that movie. I don't care to adopt a child. So in this respect, it means to want. To want.
To
Where
want?
to want in a verb, yes. I don't care to do this. I don't care to adopt a child. Now, care also means it has a different meaning as well. Where do you care? No, he will care for the child, to care for a child as well. But this one is to care, meaning to want. So the care has two meanings. So, all right. Adela, can you choose one?
To consider, to think about.
To consider and to think about, yes. And Alexander.
To consult, to advise.
Yeah, to consult with and to advise, yes. To consult, to advise. Perfect. And Ismail?
To start, to begin.
To start and to begin, yes. And Johnny?
Okay. To decide, to choose.
To decide and to choose, yes. Or and then Jonathan.
I think to explain matches with to illustrate.
Yes, to explain and to illustrate. And then this one, I think one of you asked earlier, do they all mean the exact same? Are they complete synonyms? To explain and to illustrate can mean differently. Can have different meanings as well. In this respect, it does. They can be used the same, but you can also use illustrate, completely different than to explain. And then the last one, Joseph.
Yes, sure. To move, to depart.
To move and to depart. I always say the last one is the most difficult one, but actually, it's not. So, to move and to depart. Okay. All right. Any questions about any of these words?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and read through this. So let's just read one sentence at a time, and let's start with Adela.
Yes. Clarissa and James had been married for 5 years, and they were still waiting to start a family.
Okay, and Alexander.
Should I read the next sentence?
Yeah, just one sentence. Yeah, each sentence.
All right. And it begins from after, yeah.
Yeah.
After consultation.
Consultation, yeah.
After consultation with the doctor, they decided to consider adoption as one choice.
Perfect. Okay, Ismail.
They started to research international adoption and domestic adoptions to see which one would work best for them.
Perfect. All right, Johnny.
Okay. After careful consideration, they decided to contact international adoption agencies to see if there were children available that would fit their family and lifestyle.
Okay, and Jonathan.
They did not care where the children would be from. All they cared was that the children would need a home.
And Joseph?
They also decided to choose a child or siblings who were older than 3 years of age.
Okay, and Adela?
Sorry, it's in meeting.
No worries.
Yes, they contact agencies and twin boys for Bangladesh became available.
So they contacted.
Contacted.
Yeah. All right, and Alexander.
They waited for many months and spent thousands of dollars for their sons to move to their forever home.
And Ismail.
When Clarissa and James met the boys at the orphanage, they became very emotional and excited.
Okay, and Johnny.
They had feelings they could not explain, as these boys were really part of their family.
Okay, and Jonathan.
Several months later, they came back to Canada with the 3-year-old twins in their arms and about 30 family and friends waiting for them at the airport.
Okay, and Yosef.
What a day. They were now a family and they were happy.
Yeah. So, are there any words or phrases in here that you do not know? So let's talk about this. Consultation with the doctor. Does anybody know what that means?
I know.
Okay, talk to us.
Consultation, it's like the arrangement with the doctor when your doctor tells you what you should do, what you feel like, what's your condition, and something like that.
Yeah, it's basically a meeting where they advise. Yeah, they advise you what they should do. Okay. All right, and so everybody knows international and domestic adoptions. Domestic is in your country. International is out of the country. And after careful consideration, what does consideration mean? Anyone know?
To think before deciding.
Yes. So so careful consideration is to carefully think about something before deciding. Perfect. And let's see, they would fit their family and lifestyle. So what would fit mean here?
Suitable for their family culture.
Perfect. Yeah, suitable. Yeah. So they did not care where they were from. All they cared was that the child would need a home, and they decided children older than 3 years of age. I'm saying they decided that because no diapers. So they contacted agencies. I don't think really. I don't think Bangladesh really is a country that does international adoptions based on my research, but it was put in here anyway. See. Let's see if there's any other words. They became very emotional, excited. They had feelings they could not explain. See, several months later. Yeah, so based on your knowledge, Adela, based on your knowledge, since international adoption is very common in your country, is this have you seen where there would be 30 family and friends waiting for them at the airport?
No. Waiting to airport, no. But no, because no, isn't. Maybe I could to receive them, but I don't. I didn't go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you never did go to see the friends that way. Okay.
After they visit at the home the family. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's look at this collocations matching. We've got adoption, careful, domestic, forever, international, and twin. Then we have adoptions, agencies, boys, consideration, and home. So Let's see if we can match this. Joseph, can you do the first matching? And what they do, you put the two words together and they become a phrase, and they're from the reading that we just did. Joseph?
Yes.
Okay. Can you match the first phrase?
Adoptions.
Adoption would go with what?
I don't know. Adoptions will go with the agencies.
Any idea? Yeah. So adoption agencies. Agencies. Okay. And Jonathan, can you choose one?
Forever and home.
Forever home, yeah. So a lot of times, especially with kids who have been orphans for a long time, that's what they want is their forever home. So, all right. And Johnny, can you choose one?
Careful and consideration.
Yes, so careful consideration. So thinking, careful thought. Very good. Ismail.
Domestic adoptions.
Domestic adoptions. Okay, perfect. And Alexander.
International adoptions.
International adoptions. Okay. And then, of course, Adela, the last one.
Twin boys.
Twin boys. Okay. All right. Okay.
Holly, in Spain there are other way to have child, but no in adoption, but only take care between at home, but is not an adoption because the legal parents are on the jail or have a drugs problem, and you take care to the child. But after that, you need to they return with the legal parents or blood parents.
Yeah. In English, we would call that foster parents or foster home or foster parents. And in the States, they have a rule that if a parents go to prison or jail for more than 2 years and they do not have and family cannot take the children, then the children will become available for will go into foster care, and then they will become available for adoption. But if the family, of course, if the person has family who can take their children while they are in prison, then that doesn't happen. But it's foster care is the kind of the first step many times for people who have who are drug addicts or are unable for some reason to take care of their children. So my sister and her husband, they researched adoption, and when they realized they could not have kids of their own, and decided on domestic adoption and went through foster care. So they had about 40 children in the last 5 years or 6 years in their home, and most of the children went back to their parents, but they did adopt 3 of the children. So, but that's, and I think is that common in your countries as well for foster care?
Yes, yeah, people this way, no, but people are very I don't know the meaning. Very like to help the others. Is
Yeah, they
generous,
volunteer.
generous, yes, generous people.
Yeah. Yeah, they volunteer to help the children. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and discuss adoption. So what we're going to do here is you guys, instead of just going through the list, what I'd like you guys to do is choose a question that you want to ask, and then I'll have you guys ask the question. Let's start with, let's see, person in the middle, Ismail. Why don't you start? Could you choose a question you can ask, and then of course choose somebody to ask the question to.
Okay. Alexander, do you think brothers and sisters should be separated in adoptions?
I would say that the main reason here is how old they are, because if they very very young, just were born, it's not a big deal. But if they are raised, if they have been raised for some times, I think it would be difficult, and it's not. It's wrong, because they are how to say
Bonded.
Bonded. Yes, they're bonded. Yeah.
Bonded together. Yeah. So what do you think, Ismail?
Actually, separation reminds me usually negative things, Oli. And if we talk about brothers and sisters, separation would be not good for them.
But they will never know that they had a brother or sister.
Yeah, they might, though.
If they would be adopted together, it would be great. I think maybe they can share their problem, their happiness with each other, and find a way to how can I say, to handle this difficult time period.
My sister had a little girl come into her home when she was 9 months old, and she stayed at her home until she was a 2.5. So it was just a little bit less than 2 years that she was in the home, and in the meantime, while she was in foster care, her younger brother was born, and eventually, when the younger brother was about the same age, about 9 months old, he moved in. The state took the baby from the mother, and we watched this 2-year-old girl, or just barely 2 years old, understand this is her brother, and it was really interesting that they had a very, very strong bond from the very beginning. They were very small, but they were bonded very, very strongly. And it was kind of surprised us because they didn't know each other. But of course, we told them, this is your brother, this is your sister, and stuff. So
that's amazing.
So, yeah, it was amazing to watch. And a little baby girl, I call them baby girl and baby boy. Baby girl went to be with their dad in November, and then in January baby boy went. And so he didn't want, since he was a single dad, he didn't want to take them um, both at the same time at that age. So he started with baby girl and then moved and then got his son too. So, all right. And Alexander, could you choose a question?
So, my question is for Adela. Is it, if you cannot, how to say, if you cannot burn their children,
Okay.
the child,
Okay.
if you cannot burn the child, would you want to adopt a boy or a girl?
So if you cannot have a child of your own,
Yeah.
would you adopt a boy or a girl? Would you adopt?
For me, it's indifferent. Maybe if I go to China to adopt, I need to adopt a girl because I don't have the possibility to adopt a child. But Russia is for child, no? People go to have a child. I think I don't. Maybe I will go the fast country and no to have a girl or child or boy. The fast country.
Okay, so you would go to a country that would allow you to adopt a child very quickly?
Quickly and easily.
Yeah.
Because they are countries very complicated, I think.
Yeah, I researched it actually as a single woman, and it looked like there were only 2 countries that I could actually go to, or 3 countries to get a child, and that was Bulgaria, Mexico, and Colombia. So, and those were the only countries that would adopt a child to a single woman in her 40s. So, but I don't think I'll ever do it. But
why not?
Well, I became a licensed foster parent as well, with about probably 3 or 4 years ago, and we brought 2 little boys. They brought 2 little boys into my home, ages 5 and 7, and it was really good. Except I realized right away that they needed a father, and so I'm really I really believe that you shouldn't purposely bring a child into a single situation. But you know, but then again, the other side, if they're going to be raised in an orphanage, maybe it's better for them to have at least a mom. Yeah. So it's back and forth on that one. So, all right, Adela, can you choose a question?
Yes. Should for Johnny, should family with birth children also adopt?
Well, I think they should, because you already went through the process of having a boy or a girl on your own, and it's always nice to give an opportunity to so many boys and to so many children that are waiting to get a forever home. So I think even for it should be that every couple that already has a children on their own, they should consider it too. Not only for couples that they cannot have a children.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it should be for every family. Okay, and I'm just going to speak to Jane, and she dropped out. Okay, so yeah, so you think every family should. So with my cousin here who adopted, even though they had two daughters of their own, the fact that they adopted a son, you say that's good. So so awesome. All right, Jonathan, can you choose a question?
Of course. This is for Alexander. Should you tell the child that he or she was adopted? If so, at what age or when?
Oh, all right. I think they don't have to do that at all, because it's really tough to confess to your adopt child that you was adopted, and it's really hard, to tell him or her about this. And actually, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't tell that at any case, because I think if you adopt this child, you have to treat to him like to your own. So.
Okay, I have a story. Can I show you? I just saw this on social media last week, and I was intrigued by it. These two brothers right here. Apparently, one of the boys went with the biological grandmother, and the other boy was adopted. And years later, they met each other at the pool, and everybody told them, "You look alike. You look alike." And so the one brother who was adopted didn't know if he was adopted, so he sat down with his mom and he said, "Mom, was I adopted? I think I found my brother." And the other brother knew about the younger one. He was of course told. So it's kind of interesting. That all of a sudden, just from playing at the local pool, that they get to meet each other. So.
Yeah. For that, I think that it's better to tell them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Actually, I don't know who this little girl is, but but anyway, but it's like that's kind of cool.
Yes.
So, all right. And Joseph, can you choose a question?
Yes, well, this question for Ismail. What happens to children that are not adopted? Question number 3.
Yes. I mean, we are talking about families who leave children on fire station, Holly?
No, any children that would be free to be adopted. They're actually called orphans. And children who have no families, and in some countries they're at orphanages, and in my country they stay at foster homes.
Yes, we have similar homes in my country too. Government care these children, and even sometimes some families are behaving very badly to their children, and government, social service people take these children from their families and settle them in government house, and government raise these children in this house. But according to my view, Actually, for me, it is very important to raise the children with their real family. I mean, how can I say, with
Biological family.
biological family. It is very important, and I think government should back these families in poverty, and maybe it is support them, and they shouldn't, they haven't give their children to adoption, because the adoption process is very difficult for a child. For example,
it really is.
If they learned that they are adopted child, it was very difficult. They think their biological family, and it's a very difficult process for them. That's why I think that government support the families in poverty, and try to raise children with their biological family.
Families, yeah, and I think that there's a lot of people that agree with you on that one. So, and I absolutely do. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you all for your participation, and I hope you learned some new words and phrases, and got a chance to speak as much as possible. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Holly. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.